We making moves. We making major moves. We making moves. We making major moves. We going all in. Like we got nothing to lose. We making moves. We making major moves.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mr. Man. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm talking to you about two things. I'm going to be talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve and what other countries, BRICS countries, will be doing. And I also want to talk about Tether, USDT, because there's a lot of ill-informed individuals out there spreading a lot of fake information. That's what that is, all right? So I'm going to start off with Bitcoin first, and then I'm going to move into Tether itself and stablecoins on a whole and what each individual country is doing, and it has to do with DeFi. So Trump confirms Bitcoin strategic reserve of 15 trillion price boom predicted, is what they're saying. So essentially what is happening here, and I would like to tap into this as well, with Bitcoin, what is happening in 2025, what is going to be the driver for this price increase that we are all looking for and waiting for and hearing about and is this whole Bitcoin strategic reserve. Because now you have Trump, US company, talking about Bitcoin, creating a reserve. You have BlackRock holding Bitcoin, you have Van Eck holding Bitcoin, you have Fidelity holding Bitcoin, you have MicroStrategy holding Bitcoin, and they're talking about dumping gold. So should that move happen from Bitcoin, from gold, from these countries to dump gold, you will have gold in my right hand, Bitcoin in my left hand. You will have gold decreasing and Bitcoin increasing at this point. Okay, that's 2025. That's up until mid 2025. We have the strategic Bitcoin Reserve Act right here. So the Bitcoin Act of 2024, which essentially tries to bring this into reality. That's what that is, okay? And one of the things that makes this an even stronger play is there's no capital gains tax on Bitcoin and other specific assets. So why is that such a big play for individuals with no tax on Bitcoin? Russia is sanctioned. Several other countries are sanctioned as well. So what can happen now? Why is that so important? Because here we have Russia's finance minister Anton Sulanov has revealed that the country uses Bitcoin for international trade. So utilizing Bitcoin within Russia is banned. You cannot use Bitcoin within Russia, but you can use Bitcoin for overseas transactions. So now the Russians are avoiding sanctions. They are circumventing the SWIFT system to avoid sanctions to now operate within the US, utilizing Bitcoins, and there's no capital gains tax on this. Boom. Russia is that's a smart play right there. As we move on now, people are talking about, my timeline was filled yesterday with Tether's USDT is going to be illegal. Europeans, pay attention. Your USDT will be illegal from the 31st of December. If you hold USDT in Europe, it might be a good idea to whatever. Essentially, this is ill-informed individuals here. USDT is not illegal. What it is exchanges are taking a proactive approach to delist USDT, and Tether itself backed away out of the European markets. USDT itself within the European markets is not illegal. That's, again, ill-informed. So licensing and authorization phase, January 5th or January 2025. This has to do with MiCA. So on December 30th, MiCA comes into play. We have anti-money laundering in play, and there's one more that comes into play as well with regards to EU's regulations. And what it states here, so starting January 2025, crypto assets or service providers must begin applying for licenses to operate within the EU. A grandfathering period of up to 18 months allows existing providers to continue operating while transitioning to full compliance. This provision permits EU member states to let existing crypto service providers operate from December 30th, 2024 up to July 1st, 2026. So that's the real date right there. July 1st, 2026. So if you remember when I told you the back end of 2025, mid 2025 is when you take profits. Mid 2025, May is when you start taking profits, because we will go down into a downslide at that point. And this is going to further that as well. So depending on each state's chosen duration. However, the grandfathering period is not mandatory for all jurisdictions, meaning some EU members states may offer a shorter transition period. So the last regulation is the transfer of funds regulations. That's what the third one is for EU. So it's USDT is not illegal, and different jurisdictions may prohibit it from being on exchanges, but it is not illegal. This is just another stake or another nail within Tether's coffin. That's what that is. That's what that is. And I will show you how this is going to play out. Brazil is pulling a wicked strategy here through the foreign exchange licenses with stablecoins here. They're capitalizing on the market. I'll let these individuals state it and explain it, and then I will explain what they are talking about.
I'd like to latch onto that for right now, and then we can kind of expand out to some of the other objectives that they're trying to accomplish here. But I think this is sort of the hot topic, so I want to kind of just dive into this right away. So what exactly are they proposing here as far as this self-custody rule?
Actually, the central bank is proposing to regulate virtual assets operations under the foreign exchange framework. So the central bank stated that international payments or transfer involving virtual assets, buying, selling, transferring virtual assets or stablecoins backed by Brazilian reais and held by non-residents has to comply with the foreign exchange framework, and also the transfer or custody of stablecoins backed by foreign currency. What does it mean? It's that the central bank understands that stablecoin backed by foreign currency, such as USDC or USDT, they will have to comply with the same framework as the foreign exchange market. And that is it is easy to understand why the central bank is doing that, because he's looking to have more control of the reais, of the reais going outside, the money going outside Brazil. So they are aiming to focus on this market and understand how much of money is being used through stable coins instead of the standard foreign exchange market. And but one thing that is very important, Aaron, it's related to self-custody, because as I mentioned, all these transactions, they are the standard. So transfer involving virtual assets for international payments by non-residents and with stable coins backed in foreign currencies. However, if you transact for your own wallet, a self-custody, the central bank understand that the crypto exchange cannot allow you to do so, to transfer for a self-custody without having a foreign exchange license. So the central bank understand that this operation is the same as FX operation, and therefore you have to comply with the regulation that already exists. And this can be a problem for the market, because the crypto exchanges will have to provide like a whitelisting of wallets. So they will have to understand the counterparts of each operations. So it won't be as easy as it is right now to transfer crypto for some other people, because right now, if you enter in a crypto exchange and you are willing to transfer some crypto for someone else, you just insert the wallet address and you will send the crypto. With this resolution, if it goes forward and the central bank turn into a regular resolution, it won't be as easy to transfer crypto, because the crypto exchanges will have to understand which is the counterpart that you are dealing with, and will have to obtain all the information to understand if it is a foreign counterpart, if this wallet is custody under the Brazilian regulation or not. So it will change a lot of things on the operations with crypto in Brazil.
So essentially, what Brazil is doing is monopolizing the system for their own stablecoin. And you're going to see other jurisdictions doing this as well. So if you're familiar with the term staking and what staking is and how that strategy or with DeFi works, awesome. If you're not, let me break it down for you. So essentially, you have the Brazilian real within Brazil. And they want to offer or create stability within the Brazil ecosystem. So if you are using a coin such as USDT or USDC outside of Brazil's jurisdiction and utilize it for commerce within Brazil, and you have exchange of money at that point, a foreign exchange, and try to take that currency that you had just earned now, that those funds that you've just earned, and bring it outside of Brazil again, even if it's just on your wallet outside of Brazil. You cannot do that unless you have an FX license itself. Because now they're trying to cut the head off of certain stablecoins here and reduce market share, because they want to have people utilize Brazilian real within Brazil, because there's too much outflows utilizing other cryptocurrencies or stable coins, if you will, like USDT. USDT is the largest stablecoin globally, and there's way too much outflows from this non-jurisdictional based cryptocurrency company here, Tether. They're not based within the US, right? So there's gonna be a lot of outflows from the US going to the Cayman Islands. I believe that's where they're set up. They are not set up in Brazil, and there's gonna be a lot of outflows from Brazil economy. So Brazil's going to offer, I can guarantee you can offer a higher or a substantial interest rate for the digital Brazilian real, also known as the digital Drex right now, DREX, within Brazil, for you to stake it within the country itself, which will earn you and generate a yield for yourself. But should you decide to further and utilize commerce or exchange, trade, or swap something or whatever in the country itself and try to take your earnings out of the country, it's not going to happen unless you have a foreign exchange license, which costs you a lot of money at this point. So Brazil is trying to centralize it and keep the currency or keep the funds within Brazil and reduce the outflows itself.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, they're basically trying to treat the action of transferring, say I'm a client on like Mercado Bitcoin or something, and I have USDT on Mercado Bitcoin, and I want to send that USDT to my Ledger wallet. Like they are treating that as basically a FX transaction. Is that's so MB would have to have like an FX, essentially like be licensed for that type of activity, essentially to be doing FX activity, to be able to permit that. That's and irrespective of like whether I'm a Brazilian citizen or I'm somebody else outside whether I'm sending that wallet to like, or I'm sending that from Mercado Bitcoin to my own wallet in Brazil, or I'm sending it halfway around the world, they're still treating that as an FX transaction, irrespective.
Mm-hmm.
That's
right. That's correct.
So I have a lot of questions about how they can actually like enforce this, right? But I'd like to talk a bit more about some of the motives behind this. And I think, some of the motives.
The motive essentially is they want to strengthen the Brazilian economy. That's what their motive is. That's what the Federal Reserve's motive is. That's what the Bank of England's reserve motive is. That's what the ECB's reserve is. That's what the Bank of Canada's reserve motive is. That's what the Riksbank's motive is. They all want to strengthen their own economy. They are to strengthen the economy and create maximum employment. That's what these central banks are there to do. Okay? That's what they're there to do. So to give you an understanding of what I'm doing, I have my long-term bags packed, but I'm also working on a short-term bag right now. When I say short-term bag, I mean leading into May. May is my cutoff date. Why in May, you're wondering? Because the saying is, sell in May and go away. So I have my long-term bags. I don't care what they do, how they fluctuate up and down, whatever. Those are my long-term bags. And I have a short-term bag or mid-term bag, whatever you want to call it. Is sell in May and go away. Trend-wise speaking, leading up in January or end of the year, November to December to January to February to March, April to May is usually a high. And May is usually the peak of that. So I intend to take half of my, so here's my strategy. I had loaded up, and I'm not telling you to copy this. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So I have some short-term XRP, I have some short-term XLM, I have XLR, I have short-term HBAR as well, right? So I closed or reduced some of my DeFi positions because I had recognized that the base amount I was providing for liquidity pairs was increasing faster than I was making or generating fees from swapping within liquidity pools itself. So I recognized, okay, the individual assets are outperforming what DeFi is doing for me. So I had closed 75% of my DeFi position because I still want to earn off of 25% there, and rolled that into individual assets. So I've increased my bag specifically with HBAR itself. Why HBAR? HBAR is going to perform well, I believe. Very, very well. So once that takeoff happens, my earnings or my original position, and the other half is free money at that point. I'll pull out 100% of my initial deposit. Okay, 100% of my initial deposit, and then leave it, the rest of it in there to let it ride and do its own thing. And the reason why this date is so important, May 2025, because not in June, but in July, we have the digital Drex, which is the Brazilian real, digital Brazilian real coming out. We have the digital ruble coming out. Remember I told you in the beginning of this show, Bitcoin is up here and gold is down here still. The Brazilian real coming out. Digital ruble coming out. The Chinese yuan is already out. We have India and Africa potentially coming out with their CBDCs. Do you see where this is going? With the real gold backing at this point? So I intend to take that profit out and roll it into gold at this point. And then I plan on splitting it. So I'm going to get more gold and silver, more silver than gold. And I will roll the rest of that back into DeFi. Because as people are still selling out of positions, I will be earning and generating fees for myself through liquidity pools and pairings from individuals swapping. That's my strategy. That is my strategy. And I've been working on this for some time now and listening and learning and fine-tuning the market and figuring out what's going on. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you what I'm going to be doing. I hope you learned something in this one. I'll catch you on the next one.
We making moves. We making major moves. We making moves.